Hello everyone, this is Chobra from ggChronicle once again here at the Riot headquarters in Santa Monica. I'm joined by Volibar, the senior producer. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about the esports growth of League of Legends, especially going forward in Season 3. I first want to clarify some things. What is the format going to be for the Season 3 Championship Series? And will there be any, I guess, fluent changes in the middle? So we know that there's going to be 8 teams from the regions, but are they going to be able to switch out based on progression throughout the season?
Right, so as you mentioned in the Championship Series, we're actually going to have 8 teams in that series. We're also still going to have the Challenger Circuit, which is what we have today. So the relationship between the Challenger Circuit and the Championship Series will be very similar to something that you'd see in like European football or soccer. So they have like the A tier and the first tier and the second tier, and the way that those work is there's relegation periods throughout. In football they do it, or soccer they do it every year. We haven't determined the exact cadence that we'll do that on. We've got a lot of stuff going on with finishing Season 2, but we will have relegation periods where teams will be able to move up from the Challenger Circuit into the Championship Series, and then also subsequently those teams from the the Championship Series will move down into the Challenger Circuit. So that's how that relationship will work there.
Okay, so regarding the 8 teams, is that going to be static for all the regions? Will every region have 8 teams throughout the series, or is that going to be different based on the region size?
We're going to try to keep the number of teams relatively similar. We think that the number 8 is what we're going to go with at first. That gets a good level of competition. You've got rivalries, and kind of that philosophy of any given Sunday that any team should be able to beat any team. So if you have it too big, that kind of goes away a little bit. So we're going to start with 8, and North America and Europe will both definitely have 8 each. And then Korea will probably have 8 as well, although we're still sorting out the details there with the OGN Champions League there.
And speaking of kind of keeping the team numbers the same, there was a slight hiccup for the Season 2 World Championships regarding the top 5 teams, the top teams from each region and their seeding. And how do you guys plan to go about that in Season 3?
Well, what we did in Season 2 was we had 5 regions and 5 number 1 seeds. So we actually just used a random draw for who would actually get those number 1 seeds. Many people lamented the fact that Frost had to go through the group stage, but it looks like the best teams have actually made it to the finals already, so that seemed to work out okay. Going forward, we'll look at that system again. Again, we don't have any details for our next kind of world playoffs yet. We'll finish this one, get Season 3, and then we'll get to that. But we'll probably do something a little different, but we don't know exactly what that is yet.
Sounds good. Also talking about Season 3, now we know that 3 teams from North America and Europe are already qualified, and some of the other teams also here at the playoffs. How will the rest of the teams be determined for the Championship Series?
So again, the timing and all the details are to be determined, but probably towards the end of the year or early next year, we will have we'll have qualifiers to be able to fill those last 5 slots in each of the regions, assuming that the 3 teams from each region who have already qualified accept and enter into the Championship Series. We'll have qualifiers. So we'll essentially take teams and we'll have large playoffs, and again, format to be determined, but we'll have it, it'll be merit-based, so you'll have to win your way in.
Sounds very nice. Also talking about Season 3, you guys announced that teams will be salaried, which is a huge deal, especially for North America and even some parts of Europe. Will there be a tiered salary system based on their ranking in the Championship Series? And if that is true, how will you go about determining, especially if a team moves down from the Championship Series and one team moves up?
So our current plan is to salary teams who are in the Championship Series, and all those salaries will be consistent across the board. We think that the reason we're really giving people salaries is to make sure that there's kind of a baseline minimum kind of standard of living that the teams can maintain to be able to focus fully on being the best at League of Legends they can be. One of the problems with the scene right now is that there's a lot of upside, as we see, $1 million on the line tomorrow night, but there's no guaranteed kind of quality of life amount. And so what we want to do is we want to keep the upside there. We want to also insert that quality of life minimum where teams can focus. So if you think about it, the problem is unless you're winning, you may have to go get a job developing websites or writing code or whatever it is you're doing to make a living on the side, which then in turn makes it harder to focus and win. And so it's kind of a self-perpetuating cycle, and we just want to remove that from the equation. So all the teams will be salaried consistently in the championship series, and then the upside will come, that extra money will come from winning events and winning tournaments.
Also talking about the extra money, this will not affect, is it true that this will not affect any of the teams who already have outside sponsorships?
Again, I am not the esports sponsorship guy, but I can tell you that our intention is to allow teams to be able to continue their own sponsorships and streaming and create deals like that. Again, we're just here to ensure that people are getting the highest quality League of Legends competition and having a great experience doing it and viewing it and participating in it from a player standpoint. So I'm pretty sure that our intention is to generally allow those types of things to continue.
Another question that's been floating around the community is how you'll go about teams who have brother or sister teams in the championship series, and the current consensus in the community is that there will not be brother or sister teams both allowed in the championship series, and this is a very common thing in the Asian teams and even lately in some North American teams. What is the current standpoint from Riot Games on that, and why was that decision made?
So our current standpoint is that we want to make sure that there's no opportunity for any kind of potential like trading between teams or anything like that, or any kind of even just no conflict of interest. That's what we want to ensure, again, to preserve the integrity of the championship series and the sport. And so our current thinking is that there won't be sister teams allowed in each region, and the details of how that works out with the Korean leagues and all the teams, again, we'll have to sort out. But that's our current philosophy on that. And we'll continue to review that up until the point where Season 3 starts.
All right, sounds good. And so now that you're switching over to the Championship Series format then, is the Challenger Circuit still going to be the same exact format where these new teams can just kind of start earning points whenever they enter these tournaments? And also, will these tournaments be still hosted by organizations such as MLG and IPL?
So for the Challenger Circuit, definitely, those are going to be hosted by our partners. So MLG, ESL, IPL, all of those have been great partners, and actually we're hoping that the Challenger Circuit will actually strengthen our relationship with them and work more directly with them, even more than we already have. So we're really hoping that that scene continues to be extremely vibrant. Because we want it to be. It's in our best interest to work with with those folks and continue that relationship, and hopefully it's in the players' interest as well. As far as, can you repeat the first part of the question? I'm sorry.
So will it still be the same exact format where these new teams are welcome to earn points at any time so that they may try to enter the scene?
So I don't think that that's determined yet. We do want to have some relationship between the Challenger Circuit and the Championship Series. So the thinking is that that needs to be somewhat of a consistent model. Maybe they operate very similar, just different levels of play. But we're still working those out. Again, gotta get through tomorrow, and then we'll sit down and figure that out and work in what we think is in the best interest of League of Legends, our partners, and our players.
And so I'm not sure if you guys are ready to share this information yet, but we were wondering, you did announce that Season 3 will have a bigger prize pool than Season 2. Do we have any numbers on that yet?
So there are no numbers yet. I don't even think we've determined what that is yet. But given the amount of games that we want to play and the increased kind of penetration and participation across all tiers, we definitely think that the total prize pool for Season 3 will probably be bigger than for Season 2 will be bigger in Season 3.
Talking about prize pools, now both the League of Legends World Championship and also the International for Dota 2 had $1 million prize for first place. Do you think that's kind of going to set that in stone for a while as a landmark for first place in these grand esports tournaments?
Well, we certainly think that that's a good number. Again, we'll see what we do with Season 3, but I think it would be pretty easy to justify even more money going in, again, because it's all about creating a great experience for the players, for participation, and that comes with incentivizing people to really work hard and devote their talents to getting better at the craft of playing League of Legends competitively. So I think $1 million, it'd be hard to go lower than that at this point, right?
Sounds good. Let's take a step back and talk a little bit about the Season 2 World Championships. Mainly the thing that a lot of people have been focusing on is the little hiccup regarding the mini-map incidents and a lot of these teams being able to see it, whether intentionally or not. We were told that that will be fixed. Now, is that including that mini-maps will not be present in future tournaments, or are you guys just looking at a different setup? Because for the live audience, of course, it is a great feature.
Right, and so there's a balance we have to strike there, and unfortunately in the playoffs we goofed a little on that, but that won't happen again. Again, that was our second event that we've ever thrown ourselves. The World Championships will be our third, so we're still, I believe I actually haven't seen the venue yet, I haven't been down there yet. I believe we do have the mini-maps though, but I believe they're going to, and if we ever do use them again, they'll of course be positioned where it's not even available for players to look should they so choose. Right? And as far as the actual impact of that event, it has been a topic of discussion and controversy, especially on the North American forums, and there's been some fueling of that. You know, we look at that and we reviewed every minute of footage from all of the games because we actually had cameras on each individual player's face, and we've ruled on that. There's already clear rules in place, but ultimately at the end of the day, you know, I think that both teams that are in the finals tomorrow really clearly deserve to be there, as demonstrated by the body of work that they've shown. You know, Taipei Assassins coming through and beating previously unbeaten Nijin Sword and Moscow 5. And then, of course, Frost working their way all the way through the group stages and through some of the top teams in the world. You know, and they won their games pretty convincingly, right? And so I'm hoping that the World Finals will be a great experience for everybody. The games will be exciting, and it'll just be one of those things that is a good opportunity for us to learn, but won't be an ongoing topic.
Sounds good. And so in the past, when Season 3 was announced, there was talk about having a separate venue, kind of a studio for Riot Games to host all of these games. Will this be ready in time for when the Community Blade Season 3 should start, or is that going to affect when the season officially starts for community and the professional scene?
Well, so we're still working that out, of course, again, getting through the end of Season 2, but we definitely want to have a battle arena, that's what we're going to call it, a battle arena for these events to take place. I would love to get season tickets to that. I'm not sure if that's possible or not, but I would love to get season tickets to that because I think it'll be a really fun experience. That is something that we'll try to sort out the details for, but the goal is to play our Championship Series events in our own battle arena.
Sounds good. Then I think that wraps it up for our interview here with Volibar, once again, senior producer at Riot Games. This is Chobra with ggChronicle, and thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.